Okay, well, I'll go ahead. We'll go ahead and get started. Obviously, as people come in, they can catch up. We are recording this webinar, so you will be able to watch it later. So once again, I want to thank everybody for taking the time to join today's webinar. We're going to talk about securing your environment with RISC Networks Foundation. We're essentially going to go through security use cases that we have worked with customers on through the platform. Share some of those with everyone as we go through today, and actually show some of that in the platform, how to do it, etc. It's not meant to be an exhaustive list of things that you could be doing around security, but what it is meant to be is a demonstration of how customers are using our platform today to help secure their environment and add value on the security front. So my name is Jeremy Littlejohn. I'm one of the founders here at RISC. If you have questions during today's webinar, my request is that you please put them in the questions panel on the GoToWebinar client. And so I will stop periodically to answer them. I usually try to answer them verbally and then type an answer as well so that everybody can see that. That's my email. So if you need to reach me outside of the webinar, please don't ever hesitate to do so. I also put our sales team. So as you listen to the webinar today, if you have interest, you think there might be an opportunity to help a customer, if you're a customer and you're thinking about how could I use this better around security, please don't hesitate to reach out to the sales team. Even if it's not a sales item, they'll get you to your customer success rep and help you with that. Lastly, there's multiple partners and customers on. So if you have a question, and it's specific to a customer or an application or something, please try and sanitize it, obviously, before you put it into the question panel, because it's not just one group on. All right, great. So what we're going to do today is we're going to talk about, this is a brief agenda. We're going to talk about use cases, then we're going to talk about security analytics, some things you can do around security in our platform, and then we'll revisit the use cases at the end. The good news about this webinar is I don't think it'll take a whole hour. We're going to go pretty quickly through some of these. I want to leave time for answers, questions and answers if anybody has them. And so we'll jump right in. So this is a use case overview. Now what you'll notice is the security optimization, which says foundation only, that's talking about what module you need, is the fifth one down. Sorry, I got to count them up. It's not what we're most known for, right? Most people know us for cloud. Some know us for LAN and WAN segmentation, which you could consider to be a security piece if you're trying to sub-segment or micro-segment your environment from a security perspective. People use this for VR planning and also ongoing monitoring and alerting, monitoring and trending, or performance and trending is what we call it. But security optimization is not one that people know that we can help with. And so again, what we're going to go through today is some things we've actually done with customers. So these are actually deployed within the field, people using them for these purposes today. All right, so before we can do that though, I think we need just a couple minutes about what we do, what our platform does, the values that we drive generally. So when we looked at customers who had all sorts of different questions, what should I secure? So to keep it in the security thread, what should I secure? Where am I not secure? Where do I have data sitting that I need to secure? All these types of questions come up on a routine basis, right? Maybe daily in your organization. And the challenge is that customers a lot of times don't have the information they need to answer that question. Or they just have a bunch of data and there's no information. They can't make any decision from it. It's a whole process to get that data analyzed to even make any sense out of it. So our platform exists to help with that, right? We want to be their IT answer engine. So that means answers around things like infrastructure, public and private cloud, trending analysis, and so forth. Security is obviously one of those. How do we do that? All right, so the first thing that we need to do is get a customer organized. So that means building a metadata layer that we can look at. The customer has servers and storage and network and different applications and load balance and process, all these different things, right? These are all things that might need to be secured. These are assets that sit within their environment. So the first step for us, it doesn't matter what use case you have, security, cloud, DR, LAN segmentation. The number one step, or the first step for us, is to organize this chaos. Get it into a format that we can now run some scalable analytics against it and that a customer can make it actionable. So that's our first step. Out of that will come application stacks, and we'll talk about these things, right? So application stacks are a collection of assets working together to provide a business service. Might provide multiple applications. You might host 3 apps on your Tomcat MySQL combo. What you're going to get out of our platform is a group together Tomcat and MySQL database, so that you can then think about how to secure that set of nodes. All right, so once we've done that, we can get a lot more interesting with the analytics, because now we have a uniform way to look at the environment. And so we can be much more effective as we go to process any kind of set of questions that we have. So what would those questions be? Well, you can see DR, public and private cloud transformation, LAN segmentation, where do I have problems, or security, right? So that's what we're going to talk about today. Okay, so this is the last PowerPoint slide. You'll probably be thrilled to hear. These are some of the use cases that we have in the field with customers today. And so I want to go through them, and we're going to show you how to do these in the platform. And again, along the way, what I hope you'll take from this is that these are not the only things you can do around security. The RISC Networks Foundation module can add tons of value to any security process that you're running internally. One of the things that came up recently that's not on this list, we had several customers call us about was, hey, if I've got to go and patch against this Spectre or Meltdown or whatever, how would I know where that's likely to be an impact? So again, making a broad assumption that it's going to impact CPU utilization and make it higher, we're able to run for them very quickly and say, well, here's all the places where you already have CPU that's high. So your impact is probably going to be much higher on these applications than these others as you go to put that patch in. So, if you think how many customers did that, in other words, how many customers took the time to check that before they think about how they're going to patch and where they're going to patch for those types of issues. Okay, so let's just break these out real quickly. I'm going to talk through them. End-of-life devices and security vulnerabilities. This includes both infrastructure, meaning route switch, like Cisco routers. Hey, this Cisco router has a security vulnerability in it. Oh, and it's end of support. That's a problem. Or, hey, that's a Windows 2003 server over there. All right? All of these are things that impact a customer security profile that they don't always remember where they have all of that stuff or the status and the posture of it. So being able to quickly do that and understand where those sit and what applications they then impact. We have one customer that basically uses our platform as an e-discovery repository for all the communication in their network. So I'll show you guys how you can even search that. You can search for individual applications talking within the environment. And it's a great system of record for everything that happened. In case there was ever some sort of breach or a problem that you needed to track down, you can see who talked and when within the platform. Data locations. So one of the biggest challenges as customers scale is, where is all this data sitting? Where, a very simple question might be, where do you have databases? So if I think about a security profile, I need to understand where the data is physically in my environment. So I'll show you kind of how you can do some of that. An internet-facing exposure mapping. That's a fancy way of saying, hey, what are the most important applications for you to secure? The ones that talk to the internet, right? Or that are consumed by the internet, I should say. They have internet exposure. Customers often don't understand how many of their apps have that. They think of one or two of the big ones, but they don't realize that someone opened a firewall in a remote branch 2.5 years ago to deal with some SharePoint site, and it's still up there running, right? And then a simple one that we do is, where do you not have endpoint protection? So I'll show you a quick and easy way to see that type of information. So again, these are not certainly not an exhaustive list. It's a representative sample of the types of questions that you could answer and that a customer can answer with the platform. If you're a managed MSSP, managed security service provider, right? This is additional value that you could be bringing into your customer and talking to them about stuff that, it's like, okay, well, we know what we're doing and we're doing a good job of that. What are we not doing? Is there anything out there? Tell me something I don't know, right? These are all these types of values that you can bring in. So let's kick out and look at a couple of them, so that you guys would know where to find those if you wanted to deliver it in our platform. So I am logged in right now to the RISC Networks platform. And what we're going to do is kind of step through some of these value propositions so that we can give you guys a detail on them. So bear with me one second. I want to pull up one of these. Hello. There we go. All right. So, oops. The wrong button. All right. Here we go. All right. So let's start with just looking at things like end-of-life devices, okay, and security vulnerability. So there's a couple of places within our environment you can find that type of information. The first place you can find it is under Consume Intelligence, Issue Summary. Every night we run a series of analytics checks against information in the platform. Okay? And those analytics checks cover all sorts of different issues, from reliability to scalability to performance issues. Okay? Security is also one of those issues, right, that we'll look at. So you can come into this section of the environment and check to see, do I have any of these issues? So for example, do I have any end of support devices in my network? I do. Now I clicked on the network category here. So you have network, server, and unified communication. So I've clicked on network. So I do have end of support devices. So why is that important? Well, because end of support devices are no longer receiving updates and patches. Okay. And it might be a router or a switch, or it could be a module. It could be something as simple as a voicemail module in an SRST router that has a vulnerability. It's end of support. It's not getting updated, but it may be a potential attack entry point for a hack. So being able to see this and where these things sit on the network first is very important. So we get this information directly from Cisco. We have an integration with what's called the Cisco Discovery Services. So if you put in your CDS information, we will actually submit all of that. In fact, we will even match whether it's a potential vulnerability or a confirmed vulnerability within your equipment. So you can know that as well, yeah, I mean, this thing